All appear in, dead off in the first race on Group 1 race day. The 13-runner Aidan Recycling Irish EBF 2-year-old Maiden over 7 furlongs. And prominent is Diego Velazquez, with on the inside ringside timing, being followed to the elbow by Surfer's Paradise out wide. Taking a hold is Rocking Tree, who's followed by Halbert as they sort themselves out. Ringside timing just leads Diego Velazquez with plenty of white about him, and then Surfer's Paradise, and on the inside Go On, You Have It, being followed by Artful Approach, and then Begley's Forge. Old Faithful's on the outside of Rocking Tree, and then Halbert. Guildenstern next and Burn the Bridges. Pushed along, one from last is Barn Show, and Massoon brings up the rear there at the halfway stage. Ringside timing goes on by 2 lengths. Nudged along in second place is Diego Velazquez, being followed by Surfer's Paradise. Old Faithful makes ground on the outside. Then Go On, You Have It, and Artful Approach next. Then Guildenstern. Dropping back is Rocking Tree as they race to the final couple of furlongs. And it's ringside timing rejoined by Diego Velazquez. Then Old Faithful on the outside of Surfer's Paradise. Go On, You Have It, and Artful Approach next with Guildenstern. But assuming command is the odds-on favourite. Diego Velazquez chased inside the final furlong by Old Faithful. Guildenstern runs on the outside. Diego Velazquez, a well-related colt, makes a winning debut for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Close run thing for the second and third. Guildenstern, good late work on the outside of Old Faithful.
Well, I suppose you wouldn't say it was entirely silky smooth, but Diego Velazquez well on top at the finish here, and very, very strong through the line as well, which is always something you like to see. Big run from Joe Murphy's debutant Guildenstern, who's come through to press Old Faithful for the second spot. And obviously, Jane, time will tell, but would you say all 3 of these are smart prospects in the making?
You would. You'd start with the horse in front, and you'd have to say that he was all at sea. Ryan Moore was doing his best nursery from the saddle, because from the start of the race, as soon as the gates open, he needed encouragement. He was leaning a little bit to his left, and he's riding him with his ankle, with his knee, trying to do everything he can before he gave him a few taps and he starts to assert. But take it from the gates, watch stall 3, and he was sideways. He was just a little bit lacklustre. First day at the races, and he's having to ride him into a prominent position, which I'd say he'd have been relieved ringside timing was there to help him, because he was too idle to make the running on his own.
Keep an eye there on the horse in the red and black, quite free early on. Guildenstern, who in the end has run such a big race to claim a podium finish. I'm sure his connections will be delighted with that start to his career. And number 9 there, Jane, is Old Faithful, who's maybe just in the second half of the field early, but makes a big mid-race move here, which carries him into a prominent position, not given too hard a time. Guildenstern's been confirmed a second in the end, but Old Faithful, I think, will have shown plenty there for a lot of people too.
Yes, and he ran out through the line as well as they were pulling up. Now you can see the winner, Ryan, is going through the motions in terms of trying to getting him to lengthen and stretch a little bit, but you can see from his right elbow there's good strain on the right hand rein, sticking his left hand, using it down the shoulder, and he's just trying to keep him straight. Joseph O'Brien's Surfer's Paradise is trying to get near him, but not quite good enough. Old Faithful down the outside is coming with his run, and your eye is drawn to the red colours, as you say, as Guildenstern starts to make up ground when that penny does drop. But all the while, Ryan now is after giving him a couple of taps behind the saddle, and this guy is really just learning his business on the job. He hits the line strong, he runs through it well, he'll go further. His pedigree tells us he'll benefit from that as well, and I think the whole thing was just about learning today, and he was lucky to get a lead, but I'd imagine he'd prefer to be getting a lead for longer off a stronger pace, and that'll happen when he goes up in class. Very
early days, Jane, but on the limited evidence that we have, where could you see this fella fitting in vis-a-vis the likes of City of Troy and Henry Longfellow, who was very good first in it as well? Very
hard to say. They have some very good juveniles. This guy is bred to be 1.5 miles, 1.6 miles type, so they're faster and maybe visually more impressive on their debuts, but who's to say this guy won't slot into a national stakes and give this race another boost. But just seeing him walk back in, he obviously has a very good mind, which is a thing he has in common with his 2 siblings as well, and it's an embarrassment of riches what Ballydoyle have this year.
Really is. Flashy colt, isn't he, with his white face and 4 white socks, and he's announced his arrival on the racecourse. Diego Velazquez did what was expected of him. Start of a potentially big day for his connections.
12 to 1 with Betfair for the 2,000 guineas. Aidan O'Brien already has a strong hand for next year's classics. Diego Velazquez, ultimately, in the end, rather impressive. Hits the line hard. Halfway through that, you might have wondered. But Ryan Moore was on to him at a very early stage, rode him fairly aggressively, positively, and ultimately it's the last quarter that he really did impress. 2 to 5 favourite. The odds were landed in the end. Guildenstern, an excellent second, 80 to 1. Old Faithful, loads of encouragement for middle distance races next season. Third at 11 to 1. Diego Velazquez won it by nearly 5.